Hi everyone, it's Coach Fred here, and we're talking about the Practice Test 1 Math from the College Board's Official Study Guide, Practice Test 1 Math Non-Calculator. So we're on the non-calculator section, question number 10. So today we're going to be talking using function notation. So you know how I love to review a couple of things here. So I want to remind you that function notation, or f of x, is just another name for y. And in math, it actually makes a little bit more sense because x and y really relate to inputs and outputs. Now, f of x, g of x, each of them just gives each function a different name. So we can use any of the f of x, g of x, h of x that we want. So it says in this question for the function g defined above. When I look at a function, I want to first determine what type of function it is. And so for me, I tend to look at the highest exponent of x. In this case, that highest exponent is 2, which tells me it's a quadratic function. So I do want to take a second and think about what I know about a quadratic. Its graph is a parabola, and I have multiple ways that I can graph it, solve for the x-intercepts, find different parts of it, and different equivalent forms of it. So I want to kind of think about that before I get started on a problem. So in this one it says for the function g defined above, a is a constant. That just means that it's a number, not a variable. And g at 4 equals 8. What is the value of g at -4? All right, well, if you've watched my function videos, you know that g at 4 equals 8, or if you've finished Algebra 2, you should know that that represents the coordinate point 4, 8. With 4 being the x, or the input, and 8 being the y, or the output. All right, and it wants us to find the value of g at -4. Well, there's several ways you can do it. The first one, though, involves that you need to find the value of a before you do anything. So you can use that point 4, 8 and substitute it into the equation. So the output is g of x, so 8. The input is 4, so x. And you can find a, okay? All right, so in this case, it's going to be 8 equals 16a plus 24. I'm going to subtract 24, get -16 equals 16a. So a equals -1. All right, so my equation then becomes, or my function becomes, g of x equals -x squared plus 24. All right, so now at this point, I can evaluate the function by plugging in g at -4. Now be careful here, because the -4 being squared is here. That negative on the outside is like a -1 hanging out there. All right, so we get -4 squared is 16. Then I have -16 because of that negative hanging outside, plus 24, which gives me 8. So g at -4 gives me 8. So my answer is 8. However, that should actually be sticking in your head going, oh, that makes sense. Why does that make sense? Well, that makes sense because this is a parabola. It's missing the bx term, which tells me it's just a parabola that has a y-intercept of 24. So up here at 24, going like this, opening down, right? Because if the y-intercept is 24 and there's the point 48 on the graph, like right about here, then it would have to open down, which would mean there's symmetry to the graph. Remember, we have a line of symmetry going right down the vertex. So over here, it would have to be -4, 8, because it would have to be 4 this way and 4 this way. And so that point would be -4, 8. So that's another way to think about it, which is why I say it's really important when you look at a function to think about all the different things that you know about the function. All right, guys, hopefully that was a helpful video in solving that SAT question today. Have a great day.